Hello and welcome. Namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up over the next 30 minutes. India's rapidly expanding infrastructure network over the last 11 years is boosting the ease of living. Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlights the efforts for making India self-reliant. Donald Trump says US-China trade deal is done. Says China is to supply rare earths up front under the new trade deal. And a heat wave grips North India. Red alert has been issued for national capital for the next 2 days. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has completed 11 years in office, and now we are revisiting some government initiatives which have revolutionized India's infrastructure capabilities. Now, Prime Minister Modi has marked a significant milestone in India's growth journey, celebrating 11 years of infrastructure revolution, a decade plus of transformative infrastructure development that has enhanced India's growth trajectory. The PM emphasized India's outstanding strides in infrastructure, spanning railways, highways, ports and airports, leading to enhanced connectivity, economic expansion and improved ease of living and enhanced prosperity for all citizens. And further, the Prime Minister reiterated that India's push for next-generation infrastructure is driven by sustainability and long-term vision, laying the foundation of a self-reliant India. Well, India has been on an ambitious journey of revolutionizing the country's infrastructure landscape, aiming to bolster economic growth, enhance connectivity and improve the quality of life for all its citizens. The last decade has seen India's landscape reshaped with world-class connectivity, engineering marvels and a future-ready foundation.
Over the past decade, India has witnessed an unprecedented scale of infrastructure development driven by a holistic and integrated approach. India now boasts world-class roads, railways, airports and more. From the Atal Tunnel to the Statue of Unity, these projects are not just about buildings and bridges, they are about building a stronger, self-reliant India that stands tall on the global stage. Major national initiatives like Pragati, PM Gati Shakti, the National Logistics Policy, Bharatmala, Sagarmala and Udan have collectively shaped the vision of a connected and competitive India. This is not just about infrastructure, it is about laying the groundwork for a prosperous, connected, and sustainable Bharat. Let's amplify these milestones using 11 years of infra revolution and celebrate the monumental strides India has taken. Anchored in key policy reforms and mission mode projects, this transformation has not only expanded physical connectivity but also elevated economic productivity, reduced logistic costs, and enhanced service delivery. Now, let's take a look at some of the major transformation in transport sector. PM Gati Shakti unified planning across 44 ministries and 36 states and union territories on a GIS-based platform. National highways grew by 60% from 91,287 kilometers to 1,46,204 kilometers. Highway construction pace rose to 34 kilometers per day. Bharatmala, 26,425 kilometers were awarded, 20,378 kilometers constructed. Now 7.8 lakh kilometers rural roads have also been completed between 2014 and 2025. PMGSY the fourth to connect 25,000 habitations by the year 2029. Not only this, 68 Vande Bharat trains are running across 333 districts. Now, over 45,000 kilometers of rail electrification also completed since the year 2014. If you talk about safety, Kavach has been deployed on key routes. 1,790 lifts and 1,602 escalators have been installed for accessibility. 88 airports have been operationalized under the Udan scheme. Over 1.51 crore passengers have been flown under regional connectivity. Digi Yatra, adopted in 24 airports, have over 5.22 crore users. Drone policy and MRO reforms boosting local aviation ecosystem. Port capacity also doubled to 2,762 mmtpa. Overall, vessel turnaround time improved from 93 to 49 hours. Green hydrogen hubs under development at three major ports, PIB ports. Sagarmala completed 277 projects and Sagarmala 2.0 has also been launched. And inland waterways cargo also rose by 710%. From record expansions in highways and expressways to the electrification of railways, greenfield airports, ropeway connectivity in hilly terrains, and smart digital platforms, the infrastructural push reflects the government's commitment to inclusive and sustainable development aligned with the goal of a Viksit Bharat by the year 2047. Bureau Report, DD India.
In Brussels, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met European Parliament's President Roberta Metsola, where the leaders discussed further strengthening of India-EU parliamentary ties. The minister also met European Commissioner for International Partnerships, Joseph Sikela. The meeting focused on driving forward India-EU engagement in connectivity, India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor, green shipping and clean energy. And India's Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal is in Stockholm for a three-day official visit to Sweden. The minister met with Swedish Minister for International Development Cooperation and Foreign Trade, Benjamin Dosa, and State Secretary for Foreign Trade, Hakan Jivrel. The leaders held talks on strengthening collaboration across sectors like clean energy, digital technology, climate, healthcare and life sciences, and skill development, among others. The minister invited greater Swedish participation in India's growing infrastructure and manufacturing sectors. And the all-party Indian delegation under the Operation Sindoor Outreach has returned after a successful trip across multiple countries. DD India's Vishal Baristo has spoken to Member of Parliament Bhuvaneshwar Kalita, who was part of one such delegation.
It has been quite a diplomatic victory for India, as Pakistan had also sent its delegation. Mr. Kalita, who was part of the delegation that went to 5 countries, including US, has returned today. Let's talk to him and find out. So Pakistan followed India's way. But why do you think that India was victorious against Pakistan and also conveying to the world what Pakistan has done?
Well, the issue is such where India, there was terrorist attack on India, not on Pakistan. And who has done it? It was done by the terrorists who has their camps in Pakistan. Our policy is you hit us, we'll hit you hard.
So the American Vice President was in India when this attack took place. So did it also help India's cause when your delegation went and met the government there?
Well, we met American Vice President, His Excellency J.D. Vance, and he was very positive. And since he was in India, he knew the position very well. Also, although he visited Pakistan also, he is very clear about India's position and India's situation, and particularly on the issue of terror attack, we are in the same boat.
What was the final turnaround as far as the Colombian government was concerned and their attitude towards India and Pakistan?
When our delegation went there and we could convey the message, the actual message to the leadership, they have withdrawn that statement and made a new statement, which is actually actual position and which is actually our stand.
So there you heard Mr. Kalita, quite a diplomatic victory for India against Pakistan, and yes, it has been a successful mission. With cameraman Deshbandhu, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
Now, in a boost to railway infrastructure and regional connectivity, Prime Minister Modi-led cabinet on Wednesday approved two multi-tracking projects, the Kodarma Barkakana doubling in Jharkhand and the Ballari Chikchajur doubling in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Union Minister for Railways Ashwini Vaishnav said that these multi-tracking proposals are poised to streamline operations and alleviate congestion.
दूसरा प्रोजेक्ट है बल्लारी चिकजाजूर, ये आंध्र प्रदेश और कर्नाटका, प्राइमरीली कर्नाटका में ये प्रोजेक्ट है। ये भी बहुत लंबा प्रोजेक्ट है, 185 किलोमीटर्स की डबलिंग है। ये 3,342 करोड़ रुपीस का प्रोजेक्ट है। मैंगलोर पोर्ट, जो कि वेस्ट कोस्ट पे साउथ वेस्टर्न एरिया में, मैंगलोर पोर्ट इज द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट पोर्ट। इट विल बेसिकली कनेक्ट द हिंटरलैंड efficiently with the Mangalore port. अच्छा, Mangalore port की और खास बात है, we are creating a master plan for improving the railway connectivity of Mangaluru area, which includes Hassan Mangalore की doubling कर रहे हैं, electrification, उस area में 2-3 bottlenecks से उनको remove कर रहे हैं, and adding this line, Ballari Chikjajur, this means lot of traffic which comes from parts of Andhra all the way up to Secunderabad, Hyderabad, वहाँ से एक वेस्ट कोस्ट पे पोर्ट को कनेक्टिविटी मिलेगी।
Now, the Indian Met Department has placed Delhi under a red alert after temperatures reached 45 degrees Celsius in several areas across the capital for the next 2 days now. That's how long red alert will stay. Now, heat wave conditions have also been observed over many places over western Rajasthan, Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and which is a hill state, and Haryana. Now, with simmering heat, Haryana's Ganganagar recorded 48 degrees Celsius, becoming the highest maximum of the season over the country. Also, according to the Met Department, temperatures are likely to remain in similar range till Thursday and are likely to witness a gradual fall starting the 13th of June. Let me now bring in my colleague Tapas Bhattacharya for more on this. Tapas, well, compared to the kind of May that we saw, Tapas, which was very wet and fairly freakish, although quite pleasant for large parts of North India, this is pretty much par for the course. I mean, this is what summer is all about, this sort of a heat wave in the middle of June or towards the middle of June.
Yes, absolutely. That's something that we've been talking about. In fact, when I was telling my friends in IMD, they were saying that the temperature is expected to be in the average temperature is expected to remain in the region of 44 degrees Celsius, which was not the case before. When as you mentioned, the freakish weather change that took place. But now that it has come back, and it has come back with a vengeance, and that we kind of saw yesterday also that. Yesterday, 3 stations in Delhi reported over 45 or more than 45 degrees Celsius. Thankfully, today only Ayanagar, out of the 5 stations, only Ayanagar had 45 degrees Celsius. Rest other places there is a fall of 1 to 2 degrees Celsius, depending upon the area. But as I said, the situation is expected to remain the same. We believe that in the next couple of days, it will stay the heat wave condition. We can't call it heat wave per se because the temperature is not over 45. But we could say that heat wave like conditions are there in Delhi, and the situation has actually become much more worse because of the humidity, the increase in humidity that is there, and almost 30 to 35% humidity that one can see. That actually made the matter worse for people in Delhi. Other places in Rajasthan, in places in East and West UP, we have seen the temperature soar, but as per IMD, it will stay stable in the next couple of days, and things will start improving from 13th onward. In fact, for places in East and West UP, they might just see situation to improve by tomorrow, as there is a slight western disturbance that might kick in and from the day after tomorrow. But there is also a low easterly wind that is currently blowing, so that will also help. But for Delhiite and NCR, it's going to be next couple of days is going to be very hot, very humid. So brace up, don't go out, stay indoor, stay hydrated, because only from 13th we are expecting some sort of a thunderstorm and shower thunder shower in
All right.
in
That
the
is
national
sane
capital.
advice, Tapas, but just tell me, this sort of a heat wave, although technically it may not still be a heat wave, it still feels like one. But what sort of significance or importance does it have for the advancement of the monsoon, which is the larger weather system for the entire country? A lot still hinges on the normalcy of the monsoon, or slightly higher than normalcy of the monsoon, which has been forecast already by the Met Department. So how's that going?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, a valid point that you have raised. The increase in temperature is there, but the good news coming in that yesterday onward, on the advent of monsoon, or that for that matter, the charge of monsoon that was somewhat paused for some time, has actually picked up. In fact,
Yes, because the monsoon came early, a week to 8 days early.
Yes, that's right. But we can't put that point for Delhi. So I was talking to some of the senior scientists in IMD regarding Delhi. They said that 26 June is the date that Delhi is expected to get the generally they have kept that date. We might get it a few days early, but it's still quite early in their approach. They believe that they can only get to say more about that once the monsoon picks up more pace. It has started from yesterday onwards. You are absolutely right. It has picked up pace. There was a sluggishness earlier, but it has picked up pace, and we believe that the date of monsoon with Delhi, that is 27th of June, it is either going to keep with that, or it will come a little early than that. That's my understanding, and that's the understanding that I'm getting from IMG as well.
Well, let's hope it stays that way. Until then, I guess you, I, everyone else, primarily in Delhi as well as North India, need to hang tough, follow the advice that you gave, stay indoors, stay hydrated and cool, and then dark clouds will gather, things will look up. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Tapas Bhattacharya. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. The European Union will not ban social media for children despite France's proposal. Asylum seekers will no longer be housed in hotels in the United Kingdom. The move aims to save $1.35 billion a year.
Welcome to DD India, where a billion voices unite, connecting viewers to the stories that matter. India is not just another news channel. It's the international channel that puts the spotlight on the global south, bringing you stories from the heart of emerging economies, dynamic cultures, and transformative voices. As the international news channel of India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati, DD India delivers high-quality content from every corner of the globe, focusing on the stories that shape our future. We don't just report news. We connect you to India's voice in the global narrative, from current affairs to culture, from economic growth to sustainable development, and the ever-evolving world order.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, US President Donald Trump on Wednesday announced a significant agreement reached between Washington and Beijing following 2 days of intense trade negotiations. Donald Trump said on Truth Social that the agreement is finalized pending approval from both him and Chinese President Xi Jinping. He emphasized that relations between the two economic powerhouses remain excellent. The deal includes provisions ensuring that China will supply full magnets and any necessary rare earth materials up front. In return, the US will uphold its commitments, including allowing Chinese students access to American colleges and universities. Also, Trump has said that he was less confident on reaching a deal with Iran over its nuclear program. The two countries appear to be locked in a standoff over uranium enrichment nearly 2 months into the high-stakes negotiations. Trump insisted that with or without an agreement, he would never let Iran acquire nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, Iran has threatened to target US bases across the Middle East if conflict breaks out, as both the countries prepare for a new round of nuclear talks. Israel's parliament is set to hold a preliminary vote on Wednesday to dissolve itself following a dispute over conscription, a first step that could lead to an early election, which polls show Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will certainly lose. Lawmakers from the opposition and the coalition in Israel's parliament in Jerusalem, the Knesset, voiced differing views on the vote that would topple Netanyahu's government. French President Emmanuel Macron has said that he would push for European Union regulation to ban social media for children under the age of 15. Macron said in an interview on Tuesday that he hoped to see results within the next few months. The statement has come after a fatal stabbing at a school in eastern France. Macron said that social media is one of the factors to blame for violence among young people. His comments come amid a wave of measures in countries around the world aimed at curbing social media use among children. However, the EU has clarified its stance that it will not be heading to wide social media ban after France's proposal. Now, with the current trade chaos enveloping the world, Germany is finding itself caught in the middle. And with the new government in charge, Berlin is thinking about new ways to strengthen the country's economy. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and is joining me from Berlin to talk about it. Good evening to you, Lars. Now, what can you tell us, about what's being done to ensure that, Germany stays just, above the water with its nostrils sticking out?
Thanks for having me. Well, yes, the German economy has been in a rather dire situation for a while now. We've seen 2 years of a straight-up recession. We're now in a third year, hoping for maybe just a stagnation, which, yes, might be better than a recession, but still, Germany hasn't seen any economic growth over the past 3 years. Now, obviously, there are a number of reasons for it. There's Russia's war in Ukraine leading to an energy crisis in Germany. There's a trade war started by US President Donald Trump. There's a lack of skilled labor holding back companies. Be it all as it may, it's certainly high time for a major change. And that's exactly what the relatively new government is going for. And they are trying to move the goalposts for the German economy. Because for decades, we built pretty much all our economic success on exports. Germany was widely known as an export nation. Among the goods we sold abroad were cars, chemicals, machines, industrial parts. Thanks to the strength of German engineers and developers that turned made in Germany into a globally accepted trademark signaling quality. But in an effort to switch gears, the government wants to move away from the export-only, or let's say export-mostly economy, and also strengthen domestic demand.
And Lars, how is that supposed to work? Is there any indication of what the government is planning to do?
Well, it mostly goes back to a 500 billion euro investment package that the government has often talked about throughout the past couple of weeks. Now, much of that money is supposed to be directed towards fixing the country's crumbling infrastructure, roads, bridges, tunnels, and so on. But that alone obviously doesn't spur economic growth. So the government says it also wants to build more hospitals, schools, universities, invest in research and development, strengthen the energy grid. All that, of course, could translate into lots of jobs and goods sold by all kinds of German companies, many of which are obviously in the industrial sector, in machines, engineering, companies like Siemens or so, that have long made most of their revenue outside Germany. They're apparently supposed to benefit from this, hopefully being able to sell much more within Germany to satisfy a higher domestic demand.
Lars Holter, thank you so much for joining us from Berlin with an update on how, well, Germany is trying to survive the kind of tough economic phase that it's been witnessing for the last couple of years. Now, Britain's Finance Minister Rachel Reeves has set out her much-anticipated spending review to grow the UK economy. The government has announced to end the use of hotels to house asylum seekers before the next election in 2029. Finance Minister Rachel Reeves has said that the move will save $1.35 billion US a year. Now, Russia on Wednesday sentenced exiled opposition figure Leonid Volkov, the former right-hand man of late opposition leader Alexei Navalny, to 18 years in a penal colony under a litany of charges. Moscow banned Navalny's organizations in 2021 as extremist, and Volkov was found guilty of more than 40 episodes of crimes in 9 criminal cases. US chip giant NVIDIA on Wednesday announced a broad infrastructure push into Europe, partnering with local companies to help build the continent's own ecosystem for AI. Singing out a local firm, Huang said NVIDIA would partner with French AI startup Mistral to build a cloud platform powered by 18,000 of NVIDIA's latest high-end Blackwell chips. And time now to talk about sports as well. Well, the day 1 of World Test Championship final between Australia and South Africa has been underway at Lord's in the UK. South Africa had won the toss and opted to bowl first. Kagiso Rabada bowled a fiery opening spell, dismissing Usman Khawaja and Cameron Green in 1 over, before Marco Jansen set Marnus Labuschagne back to the duckout. Australia pinned their hopes on veteran Steve Smith to bail them out of trouble. Smith brought up a well-composed half-century before getting dismissed by Aidan Markram. Australia are aiming to win their second WTC title, with South Africa gunning for their first. Right now it's tea, and the score is 190 to 5. So Australia made a bit of a recovery after the initial fumble. And that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. You can just scan it, the QR code on the screen there, and download the app. And that's all we have for the moment, and we'll get you more as we go through the evening here as well. I'll be back at 9 with the News Hour at 9 with more updates. Until then, thank you for watching us, and thanks a lot from the entire team here at DD India.